Welcome to another sad episode of the City Boys Show. I'm Javier. This is Danny.
Welcome to the last episode of the City Boys.
Sad.
Of the season.
I'm sad.
The season finale.
Season. All things. I don't even know a song right now. All things come to an end.
I've never heard that song in my life.
To the end of the road.
Still I can't let go.
We don't know the lyrics. If you ask the two worst people with lyrics, it's probably you and me.
Bro, if there's not a TV, I don't think I'd ever be able to do karaoke.
I got a criticism
What's
from
that?
the word you just said, bro. I think we got to stop saying it. People
Why?
say we sound like idiots. And I've seen this all over the place. I think we do say bro too much.
Bro, but we are bros.
That's what I said. I said we're actually brothers, so I don't think people get that whole concept.
Wait, who
Maybe
said
we should
that?
just call each other brother.
No
Hey,
one's-
brother.
What? Who's ever said we sound like idiots saying bro?
I've seen it on the TikTok comments.
Yeah, you know what I think is the biggest roast on podcasts?
What?
Comments. Like when someone has when you see a reel or TikTok and it's about a podcast, the number one roast is when they say podcast equipment should be more expensive.
Oh, dude, we've
Bro.
gotten that one, I think.
Have we?
Yeah, we've gotten that one.
Bro, it's such a good roast
It's such
every
a good
time.
burn. I saw that comment. I'm like, he's probably right.
Yeah.
I'm
this
sad.
game.
Okay.
This game. Sad stuff. Before we get to the sad stuff, maybe we talk about the pregame.
The pregame was fun.
The pregame was
The
fun.
pregame was like, you know how I knew this was gonna be a bad game though?
Why?
You just kept feeling like you were confident. I'm like, what's wrong with this guy?
I felt so good about the game, man.
You really did, and I couldn't understand why.
It just felt like we are so good at home. Except in the playoffs. Have we ever won a playoff game at home?
Yes. We beat Atlanta in the 2021 playoffs. We've definitely won home games. We beat Miami last two seasons whenever Higuain retired. That was like his.
That was in the playoffs?
I'm pretty certain it was the playoffs. We
thank
definitely
God.
won home games in the playoffs.
Oh, okay.
What we haven't done, and what continues to be the streak, is we've never beaten the Red Bulls in knockout rounds.
Yes.
It's been 5 times we played them in Open Cup and Leagues Cup and knockout rounds. Never beat them, and we've been shut out in all of them. So the trend,
Really?
Yep, so the trend just keeps going and going. And I don't
Damn.
want to talk about it. Pre-game stuff was fun. So we go to Ebbs.
Yes. The bar at Citi Field was taken over by the third rail.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was cool. Everyone showed up. The superstars came up. Brad Sims was there.
CEO of NYCFC.
Yes. Marcelo was there, new owner of NYCFC.
Dude, giant. How tall is that guy?
Dude must have been like 7 feet tall.
Dude, I felt like small. I felt insignificant.
Do you think he was always tall or he uses billions to make himself taller?
Just like chop them knees up. I would get the
Exactly.
surgery.
That's scary, bro.
Bro, 6'1", I'll be the scary one after that. But yeah, he was there. He was chopping it up.
Yeah.
He tried to skip the line to go to the bar. They're like, no, papa, you can't do it. Security was bro. I said, bro, called myself. Security looked at him like, I don't care if you're 7 feet tall. The third rail president said nobody can have a drink. And the owner of the club and the CEO are like, guys, really, I think we could get a drink. And I think they only give him one.
Bro, I love how security takes his job seriously, bro. That's fantastic. Also, they didn't let Red Bull members in. Like, Andrew was at the door saying, you're wearing red, you can't come inside. I thought that was a smart move before things got violent.
I mean, it's a dumb move for them to even try that. Like, that's like
I
going
know.
to an NYCFC tailgate. You just
Yeah,
don't do it.
yeah,
It doesn't
yeah.
make any sense.
That's a good point.
And just to show that Red Bull folks are even dumber, they also, one of their guys went to the march.
Oh, yeah, I saw
Dude
that.
had it coming. He was being an idiot. And
yes.
it's like, and then if the kid would have gotten punched out or something like that, it would have been NYCFC fans' fault.
Yeah.
But like, you don't go to a march knowing everybody's revved up, knowing everybody's anticipating this big matchup against the rivalry, and like not expect something to go down.
And dude was instigating the situation. But luckily there were some people on the blue side who were like, get out of here, bro, and just kind of pushed them away, got them out of the situation.
Mini conversation with Brad Sims. He talked to us.
Yes, he did. That was an interesting conversation, actually.
Yeah, why don't you? I already know what you're interested in, like the season and all that.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Yeah, so we were talking to Brad Sims at the Third Rail event about, the rumors that MLS is moving to the European schedule, starting in the fall, ending in the end spring or early summer, and said, how do you feel about that? And it was a really interesting take from an owner of a team, not an owner, but like president of a team. And he's saying, other companies or other sports leagues like NFL, the Premier League, the number one source of revenue is TV licensing, broadcasting rights. Second is sponsorship. Third is ticket sales. But in MLS, number one is stadium ticket sales, then sponsorship, then TV licensing rights.
Yeah.
And so if people don't show up to the games, the teams lose money. And he thinks if we were staying in a baseball stadium at Citi Field Yankee Stadium, that'd be really hurtful. But because we're getting the new stadium, he feels better about it. But that it is not going to be like a super positive impact to moving to that. And I think that makes sense. Honestly, I'm really a pro-European schedule until that game. It was cold.
It was serious. And here we're being prima donnas inside a press box, and we could close the window anytime.
Yes.
And there's fans out there who were thugging it out.
Yes. Yes.
So we're being prima donnas. But another big takeaway that I think the fans would like to know, we don't have an exact timeline, but groundbreaking is happening soon for the new stadium. That's all I'm going to say. After Thanksgiving for sure, but it's happening soon.
Yes. I'm going to make you feel a little better about losing.
Yeah.
And what would be terrible if the groundbreaking happens and near the MLS Cup and the Red Bulls are there? That'd be real sad. You got to move that groundbreaking.
No, you got to move that, bro. It's got to be like 3 weeks from then. It's like, it can't happen anymore.
Bro, when I saw that LAFC got eliminated by Seattle,
I know.
I was like, "Oh my god, are we making the path?"
The Orlando set the stage though. They did what they had to do. So hopefully Orlando's a tough matchup for them. And Galaxy are on a run. So even if they make it to the MLS Cup, the Galaxy have a chance.
But what if Seattle beats the Galaxy?
Nah, I'm gonna cry. Any other pregame stuff that stuck out to you?
No, the march was cool. I guess I don't know if you count this as pregame, but the Tifo was fire.
Oh, the Tifo was cool. I like that. They were hunting for the heads. We had the Cincinnati Bengal, and then we had the Red Bull. But it
wasn't Frieza's game though. He wasn't hunting nobody that game.
Well, I wouldn't blame it specifically on Matt Freese, but so let's get into the game.
Yeah.
So right off the gate, it just felt like we weren't playing our ball. Like first 20 minutes of the game, it was like, I don't know. I felt like we didn't come out to play. It was like we fell right into their game plan of like, oh, make them lose possession early. And we weren't even playing out the back. It was like we kept lobbing balls over the top. And I was like, why is this happening?
Yeah. No, I felt the same way. It was interesting. The Red Bulls didn't come out pressing. They kind of was like, oh, well, we'll kind of like beat them in the midfield when they try to get it. And they kept taking the ball from us, but they weren't putting that much pressure on our back line when they got the ball. They kind of like chilled and let them hold it. But instead of us like using that against them and playing from the back, like we've been doing all season, they decided to just start kicking through balls over the pitch. And I don't really understand how you choose that strategy when you haven't done that strategy all season.
Yeah, and I think it was asked to a player like, oh, was like that the game plan? And I think they were like, no, that wasn't the game plan. We just didn't play our ball, basically.
Yeah.
Which is like, but why? How are you not playing? Like, how are we not prepared to play against our rival, the most important game of the season? I just don't get it. Like, how do you start off slow? And we knew the Red Bulls were going to come out like firing. They just got a slacking 5-1 by us. Like, you knew they wanted to come back, and they wanted to come back with vengeance. We even talked about it before the game. Like, they're going to come hard and fast.
Yes.
I had to stop myself. All right, back. I am a real analyst, and I am a very important reporter. And we were unprepared for those first 10 to 15 minutes.
Well, I would say it was like the first, honestly, like 30 to 40 minutes of that game where we were playing this flustered ball, and I just don't get how you come off that unprepared when you've had 2 weeks off. Like, you've had time. My pro of having the 2-week break is you got a smart coach being able to come up with the best version of a game plan because he has an extra week to strategize. And it felt like either the game plan was bad, which you're saying the players say that wasn't the game plan, or the coach did a bad job at telling the team to play the game plan.
Yeah.
Because, like, what happened there? So it was really frustrating to see that.
So they score in the 16th minute. Carballo he had a rocket, bro. That was a very. It was just strong. And one thing that we haven't touched on yet. Do you think the wind played a role? Because it was a very, very windy game, and even before the game started, we saw them warming up, and you saw the wind was playing a factor into that.
Yeah.
And I would say the wind in that first half was beneficial for the Red Bulls. So when Carballo struck the ball, I felt like the wind actually played a role in that. I'm not going to say like, oh, that was the main role and that's the biggest excuse. No. But I did feel like it did play a role.
I mean, but to counter that, if the wind was that strong out there, why are you playing the game with through balls to your striker?
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't make sense. Then play from the back. You know what I mean? So maybe it did help with that goal. Maybe it added a little bit more oomph to it. But at the same time, what was really interesting was it was a goal kick, right? So the goal, the way that play got set up was the goalkeeper had the ball. He lobbed it up. But right before he lobbed it up, you saw Thiago Martins pushing the back line up, but it did, and so he like started it, but the goalkeeper already kicked it, and then you saw that there was like this weird like jerky reaction, and that I think it was Forsberg had like momentum on that, and he pretty much like was one step ahead of Martins, and Martins still got the ability to like head it, but it was a terrible header, and it fell right in Caballo's leg, and then there was no one around. He was wide open.
Yeah, you had to push tighter. I mean, granted, he wasn't in the box, but he was right outside the box. I mean, like, you gotta be ready for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I think our back line at that moment was poorly positioned. Gave him the opportunity, and they took advantage of it, man. And I feel like that's been kind of what you see. Like, if you saw the expected goals of the Red Bulls, I think it was like under 1.
0.88.
But it's just kind of what's killed us. Like, the moment we make a mistake, they the teams take opportunities on it, and we had a lot of mistakes out there.
I mean, when we go back to that 5-1 game, the reason we dominated so quickly and so fast against this team was because we got that early lead. Like, we were the team who took advantage early. So then Red Bulls have to play from behind, which they don't like to do. They're not a possession team. They barely ever have possession. If we look at this game, they had 29 possessions to our 71. They don't care about having possession.
Yeah.
But they got us early. And then, okay, I get it. I don't even get it. We give the first goal, but then the second goal, another thing that they're so well known for is set piece goals.
Yes.
And what are we not known for? Set piece defending.
Yes.
And like we did good early on this season on set piece defending, and then it's kind of faltered since then.
Yes.
And Van Zier just gets the ball. It looked at one angle, it could have been offsides. It wasn't. I forgot who kept them on. It might have been. Yeah, I think it was Parks who kept them on. And I wouldn't blame that on Freeze either. There was really no spot. It was right at the edge of the other side of the corner that Matt Freeze was at. You can't really expect that bounce. Like, it's just unfortunate that at that point we were down 2-0, and it's only the 25th minute of the game.
Yeah.
And the one thing I wanted to touch on is once those 2 goals happened, it got pretty quiet.
Yes.
And I guess, what's your take on all that? Because there's a lot going on, and there was a lot going on social media, Facebook, Reddit. They're talking everywhere about how it felt like the crowd was quiet.
I think we were sitting near the supporters,
Near the Red
Red
Bulls.
Bull supporter section, and it was real. The stadium felt like it was a 50-50 split. And if you're down 2-0, it's really hard to get riled up and cheer your team on. So in a way, I get it. Like, we are not sitting in the supporter section. We're supporter section season ticket holders, but we are not sitting there. And so I'm not going to be like, yeah, you guys need to be yelling for 2 hours. I think that, they're out there vibing. They've sang. I heard them. But I do think you got a stadium where 50% of the stadium are Red Bull fans, and they're the ones scoring. It's pretty hard to, like, not end up hearing them.
Yeah.
And also, I do think it's something with, like, the way the stadium structure is. Because where you see where the Red Bulls are sitting, the supporters, there's, like, a ceiling. And I think there's some type of, like, echo there. And I think that's why we sound so loud at the Red Bull Arena. Because we're sitting right next to that ceiling, and I think that also echoes off. So I think it's an acoustic thing, too.
Yeah, I think that's a very accurate statement. Like, when the roof is right there, it bounces off the roof. You can hear it louder throughout the stadium. They were in a situation where, their roof was right on top of them, where their main supporters, where their main drums were, and you did hear it echo around the stadium.
Yeah.
But we still outshine. Remember when we played them against Red Bulls in Red Bull Arena? We outshined them. You heard our fans 10 times louder than their fans. So it's like, when your team is down, it's really hard to really be up there. But it's not like the fans stopped cheering and the fans didn't care. Well, and I don't think it was a 50-50. I think that's a little over exaggerated, but I do feel like there was wrinkle of Red Bull fans everywhere. And we would get messages on social media like, damn, I was in 131 and it sounded loud, or I was in section 300 and then like they overpowered us. So that, I think it was just even if there was only maybe not, they were sprinkled everywhere, that it felt like you were hearing them everywhere.
It did. And like you said, we got multiple messages of people saying, I'm surrounded by Red Bull fans.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the split was, but there was a lot of red, and they were loud. I think if you didn't know, if you were a casual who were just walked into that game on TV and didn't know who Stadium was, you would think you were at Red Bull Arena, bro. It was that loud.
I didn't.
It was that loud.
I think you're taking it too far.
I know. But I'm not blaming it on our supporters. I'm just saying Red Bull had a dominant performance, and you heard it.
Yeah, I mean, they had a dominant. You're right, but I mean, they had a dominant first half. I would say that. They had a dominant first half. We came out flat. Is there anything that we did that first half that that felt like it was promising? I felt like for the first 30 minutes, we didn't even get a string of 5 to 6 passes going that was positive.
Yeah.
Other than trying to get over the top. I did feel like when the ball did get over the top a couple times for Alonso, he was just a little rough on the touch. And that's one of Alonso's strong suits. It's he's got that magic touch to he'll get past a defender and then use that touch to then get himself in a one-on-one situation with the goalkeeper, and he didn't have it this game.
No, I agree. It was he's known for being clinical, and he chose the worst day to not be clinical.
Yeah.
Because I actually wrote it down. On the 22nd minute, he had that bicycle kick.
Which wasn't his fault though.
No, it wasn't. But he did get the deflection back.
Yeah.
And then he skied it. But I mean, that was a tough shot. But then on the 27th minute, that was the one where Hannes Wolf threw past it to him right in front of the goalkeeper. And he just tapped it right to the goalkeeper. Yeah. There was so much more box left, and he didn't do it.
Yeah.
And so that was really tough.
I want to touch on Martinez because when we look at, and this might be an unfair comparison, but I'm going to make it anyways. When we look at Martinez's expected goal for this game, it was at 1.31. Pretty high. If he finishes those chances, those goals should go in. I mean, it's a pretty high expected goal for one player. And then if we go back to our 2021 run, Dottie scored in every game that he started. And I know I'm setting unreal expectation, but it's the truth. And his expected goals weren't anywhere near near Martinez. He had an expected goal of 0.16, 0.30, and 0.46 for the 3 matches he played in that playoffs. And he still scored every game. And that just shows me you need somebody clinical there. And in the most important moments, I don't care how you were expected to get that goal or what the ratio, he just made it happen.
Yeah.
And it didn't happen for Martinez.
Yeah.
And we could go into the second half, and it didn't happen for the rest of this team. And we've been talking about clinical finishers, clinical strikers, and maybe we haven't solved that yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, Martinez was our guy. I mean, he scored 18 goals, but
17, but yeah.
I thought Cushing was wrong on that stat, but I know.
Sorry, I messed up your speech, but yeah.
Yeah, you messed me up, bro. I was on a roll.
I'm sorry.
I was
You were on
feeling
a roll.
passionate.
I know. I just didn't want someone in the comments, but it was actually 17. My bad.
I'm going to check it now, but lead us into the second half. How are you feeling at the end of the first half? It was 17. Cushing's right. I should never guess him.
Wait, one more thing on Alonso Martinez. He on the 48th minute right before, that was the one that hit his back foot. I thought he was trying to go for the Hebe back foot tap in.
Yeah.
But no, I hit his back foot. And
I thought that was the one you were referring to in the 20 whatever.
No, the 27 was the one that was right in front of it. He just kicked it straight to the goalkeeper.
And something like that, like one of those chances that he got early could have really shifted the momentum, balanced the game out. Okay, now we're talking. Like, yeah, we might have been down, but let's balance this game out.
Yeah.
And you were waiting for that moment to balance the game out, and it wasn't. It never felt like we were going to get it.
Yeah. But it's also interesting. Like, I get it that Alonso Martinez has 17 goals, but like, we have not built this team around Alonso Martinez. He has found a way to make opportunities for himself to score goals. So, I feel like a broken record a little bit from this episode, but like, why was the game plan just hoof it over to Alonso Martinez and see what he does? When has that ever been our game plan?
You know what I found interesting though? Our midfield struggled.
It did.
And that's something that I was surprised by. Like Parks, James Sands, Morales, they struggled.
I know.
And that's where our strong suit is, really getting past those. And it was so interesting that I feel like to a certain extent, it was like Justin Hack was one of our best players this game.
Yes.
And at points, he was like, I'm not passing it to the midfield. And just drove all the way.
Yes.
I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And he had like, those plays were one of our most effective moments throughout the game.
Bro.
Where he was just like, I'm taking it all the way through.
Bro, I was like, is Callens back? Is Callens back here?
That's very true.
That reminded me just of him. And it felt like he was like, no, if you guys aren't doing anything, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And it was my man deserves to be a starter.
And there's a conversation. Well, let's just get into it.
Yeah.
After the game, Justin Hack said, "I want to be in a place where I'm the starter. Like that's where my goal is,
Whether it's this team or not.
whether it's this team or not." What do you make of those comments?
I'm saying I thought the past few games he has been impeccable. And I also think he deserves to be a starter somewhere. And maybe Burke resign it. Maybe we should keep Hack. I don't know.
I think you're gonna get a lot of hate for that because I think there's a lot of people who are like, yeah, well, you're not even a starter on our team or something.
Yeah.
But you know what? I don't think Hack's been given a fair opportunity because it's like we've said you are a utility player. We
Yeah.
need you here.
Yeah.
You've never said we see your talent, you're a center back.
Yeah.
This is your position now.
Yeah.
So because you've never defined that for Justin Hack,
Yeah.
he needs to go define it for himself.
Yeah.
He needs to maybe go say, I am a center back or I'm a center midfield. Like,
Yeah.
So I think that's where it's like Justin Hack's never been able to solidify his position. And I think if NYCFC's not giving him that opportunity or not saying you're a defensive midfield, you're going to be this guy. And it's hard when you've had James Sands and Kean Parks here for so long.
Yeah.
And those are the guys to go to. But yeah, I think he deserves an opportunity.
100% agree.
Where are we going?
So we were going to talk about the second half. But on that note, I think and how bad the midfield was. I don't know which one we want to talk about first. Let's start with, the half ended, what I thought was really interesting was the team came out like 3 minutes early on the pitch.
Oh yeah, that was interesting, but they've never done that before.
Yeah.
I think it was like, we're coming out here, we're gonna have momentum, and we're gonna change this game around. Like, we're not playing around.
Yeah, but I think what annoys me about that is Cushing says after the game, I'm proud of this team, and I think they really work. Like, you should be happy of the team you saw out there. And I think it discredits two things. One, we shouldn't be happy what we saw because you're discrediting the rivalry with the Red Bulls, and losing to the Red Bulls is much bigger than just losing any game.
Yeah.
And then the second thing is, yeah, they looked great the second half. Didn't score, but did have great opportunities. That is where their expected goals came from. But why was that team not the same team in the first half? What we're expecting is 90 minutes of quality play, and we have spent an entire season asking for 90 minutes of quality play and only getting it a few times this season. And I think that's where that falls on the coach. Where's the consistency of the team?
Yeah, and no, you're right. If you could say one game is the epitome of what's been NYCFC's flaws this season, it was this. We didn't have a clinical finisher. we had a bunch of chances, didn't finish those chances. We were inconsistent for one half of the season and not consistent the second half of the season. First half of the game, second half of the game. You know what I mean? Like, those kind of comparisons is why we've been doubting NYCFC this whole year.
Yes.
So it's kind of fall into that same category of the story we keep talking about over and over.
Yes.
I feel like we could go into the second half, but we had a bunch of chances. Yeah, our stats look great, but when a team's playing down to it, like, it's easy for your stats to be padded up and look good. But I think Blue City Radio had this thing, and they had a statement that they said after that they tweeted out, and it was like, oh man, I had this whole thing and now I had a whole talking point. Hold on. Oh, does Cushing win big games? Like, in key moments, is Cushing the guy to win you big games? And I had an opinion on it, but I wanted to see what your opinion was on that. I'll tell you my opinion first.
Yeah, you go
I'll
first.
tell you my opinion. My opinion is, I think he does. Like, when I think about big games, it's against the Red Bulls. We've dominated derby matches against the Red Bulls. Yeah, we didn't win this one, but we've dominated derby matches before. And I think if we look at the stats, Cushing is one of the best coaches against the Red Bulls. Like, he has the best winning percentage. So we win big games like that. If I think about big games we played, we kept saying throughout the season, oh, we're playing down to bad teams and playing up to good teams. And I remember I felt those moments where Inter Miami, we played up to those guys. We made sure it was a draw. Columbus, we played up to them. And let's not forget, we went to a playoff. We made a playoff run with Nick Cushing at the helm. We were at the Eastern Conference Finals, and we crumbled at the end. And you could put that blame on Cushing, and then that's where we could keep talking about this. But I do think we've won big games under Nick Cushing. So I wouldn't strictly say that he can't win big games. What's your opinion?
I mean, I think you last week said this is the biggest game since MLS Cup, and we lost this game. And it was probably the third biggest game, that Eastern Conference Final game we also lost. And it was also a pretty big game, that Columbus Crew game we lost. So I don't know, man. I get the derby matches are big, but they're regular season games. I get that he has a great playoff record, but all of them have been in penalty kicks, right? Because they're all been draws or something of the sort.
Oh, Ronnie Dyla, you mean?
No. You said that you told me last week that Cushing was the most winning coach.
Oh, but I was saying because Ronnie Dyla had a bunch of draws because they were PKs.
Okay, so I don't feel that way. I don't feel like we've won big games, but like we beat Inter Miami in the Ballon d'Or game. Like what?
I was talking about the Miami game this year,
but once again, it's a regular season game. Like maybe it's big because the opponent's big, but at the like a superstar team. But when it counts the most, we haven't won.
Nick Cushing outsmarted everyone. He said, you don't have to win big games if you don't make the playoffs." And I will say, we lost against Philly, that big Eastern Conference. And I think why it matters, this whole conversation, because I'm tying it back to this. And a part of that reason we lost in that big Eastern Conference final was Nick Cushing made some interesting subs towards the end of that game where I think we lost our defensive. Or we try to play. I think we try to play back, if I don't mistake. I remember subs played a role in that.
Yes.
And now if we go back to this Red Bull game, our first sub wasn't till the 74th minute. Did you have a problem with that? We're down 2, and the first sub we got is the 74th minute.
Yeah, and there were some questions about that in the press conference. Like, Mike from Blue City Radio asked, like, what are your? How did you feel about your substitutions? Like, looking back at the game, and he said, we just brought some new offensive player. We just knew we had to, and he said it would have been interchangeable if we would have brought in Moonsef or whoever else that was available, Jovan. But
he actually, so just a little bit to that is he was like, Martinez was the guy who scored he was our goal scorer. So I will defend him on that, but keep going out.
Yeah, but that's what he said. How am I going to take out Martinez? How am I going to take out Maxi Morales? He said, you don't take out Maxi Morales in the playoffs. I thought Maxi was kind of terrible this game. Like, Max, not the terrible as in, like, he had bad decisions, but you could tell his age this game.
Yeah.
He was looking real slow.
Yeah, there was a couple of balls that were lobbed over the top where if he had more speed, it could have been dangerous opportunities. Like, it was maybe him, and then a defender was, like, defending someone else, but then just ran over and was able to cover that spot.
And not only that, but, like, he had a few corners where you could tell he couldn't get...
Yeah, the ball wasn't getting
in the air.
It wasn't getting into the box.
Exactly. Yes. So, like, you could tell Maxi was just not having it. And so, like, I get it. I get you don't want to put your veteran, most well-known players on it, but, like, we're down 2-0. You try everything at this point. And that the everything was Ojeda, who we saw for, like, 10 minutes in, like, September.
Yeah.
And then before that, it might have been in 2001. Like, I just didn't get some of those substitutions, man.
The only thing I will say is the team was finally gelling in that second half.
That's a good point.
There was a lot of opportunities happening. We had 19 total shots in the second half. I don't even want to talk about the shots on target. We only had 4 shots on target, but it did feel like, okay, we're gelling, we're moving the ball, things are working. Do we want to get out of that flow, put somebody in you? But then to combat that, look at our bench. Like, we got all these guys who were like, we paid a ton of money for. Julian, Ojeda, Jovan. Like, we had all these guys that we said, hey, these guys are going to be the future of our club, and you didn't utilize them.
Yeah.
Like,
the two people you mentioned we did utilize, but yeah.
But we utilized them in the 82nd minute and the 90th minute.
Yeah,
it's like way too far into this thing.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Yeah. No, but I do agree with you that it's hard. Like, it's hard because they were gelling. Like, I did feel like, there's a good chance. When we had some opportunities, man. We did have some opportunities in that second half to score.
But I also feel like, going back to the clinical finisher, like, it's not even just Alonso Martinez, but, like, there's times where Santi does a beautiful pass to Kean Parks, and the header's not even on target, and it drives me crazy. It's like, we take for granted these moments that are scoring opportunities, and it's happened all season. It's happened all season. So it's just like, those opportunities. The Thiago Martins header that hit the goalpost.
Yeah.
And I don't know if those are just, we used to make those in 2021, and the players just got a little more lucky back then, or it's like, why aren't we finishing those chances? Like, do we just not have those players to finish those chances?
Or is it the coaching? And I think that goes into the question, since this game, I don't know how many times we've been DM'd. Cushion in or cushion out? What are your thoughts? I was thinking what we do, instead of going our personal opinions, one of us takes a side, and then we kind of talk on it.
Okay, go. Cushioning. You be cushioning out. I'll be cushioning in.
Okay, let's do that. So, I guess
Good luck, but no, you're cushioning out. Good luck to me.
Yeah, you have the harder job, I think. One, I think, is like we gotta just change the vibes, man. Like my thing is like we lose the first game of next season, it's cushioning out all over again. And I'm just sick of that vibe. I don't want to talk about the coach's problems day one. You start with someone new, someone who you feel comfortable with. You're going to give him some time. Cushion has started. He started poorly with this team by taking that, job when he had to. Then you had a crappy squad. The fan base does not have faith in this man. And I don't want to talk cushion in or cushion out anymore. And on that note, just on that principle, cushion out. That's one thing. Two, I look at this season and I go, these players that we've known of that started in February and today, how many of these players do I feel have really developed? And I don't. The only, maybe there were some unknowns. We didn't know what Malachi Jones was going to be. We didn't really know what Alonso Martinez was. But Santi is the same Santi from February. That's the same Santi from October. James Sands, Keaton Parks, Hannes Wolf has somehow gotten worse. I don't look at this team and go, man, look at what Cushion has done with this squad. And now if we just keep the same squad and his development, we're going to kill it next year. I don't feel that way.
You can rebuttal that, though. I can rebuttal that.
Okay, you will. Give me a second. I thought we were doing. Are we doing?
Well, no, one and one.
Oh, 1-1. Oh, my bad. I thought.
Let me get in there, boy.
I thought I was gonna monologue it, and then you were gonna monologue it. All right, we'll do a debate version. Are you gonna debate the first point or no?
What was your first point again?
My first point was just the vibes.
That's like dumbass. Look. And the reason I want to say it's dumbass reasoning is when we slacked the Red Bulls 5-1. Did you not see all the signs these fans have? When teams are performing bad, of course they want somebody to have to pay for it. Like, it's just what happens in sports. So, like, the vibes, yeah, you get a new coach. He loses 5 in a row. You don't think there's going to be some out signs for him? Yeah, people are going to be frustrated. Fans care about this team. They're going to be frustrated. The Red Bulls were going through a crisis mode after they lost to us 5-1. And now look at them. They're on top of the world. Seasons go through up and downs. I don't, there's always going to be an in and out conversation about coaches, players, all that.
Okay.
So I don't think that's a valid reason to be like, somebody should not have their job. That's your point one.
Okay.
Now let's go to your point two.
Okay.
You said player development.
Yes.
We look at Tavon Gray. What have we said about Tavon Gray as of late? He leaded the team with assists this year. What did we just said 3 weeks ago? Tavon is the new Tinnerholm, and we got destroyed for it. But still, I had somebody like I didn't agree with that point, man. But I like the podcast. Regardless, we've seen improvement in Tavon Gray. Can we not admit to that?
Yes, his offensive game has gotten better.
Yes, we just talked about somebody else, Justin Hack. Justin Hack, he wasn't some magical player a year ago.
The sample size is tiny, though. We've had, 3-4 great games of Justin Hack. You can't be like, oh, look at these 4 games of Justin Hack. It must be everything that Cushion's been doing the past year.
Just from that sample size, though, you could tell that Justin Hack's gotten a lot better than years previous when Ryan Dilo was the coach. Let's just be honest.
You just said maybe they just haven't given Justin Hack enough opportunity in a position.
Oh, okay.
The only reason he has an opportunity is because Burke Reese is out.
Okay, let's go to someone else. Micha. Micha's shown improvement as well. He's been an offensive threat. He's really growing into his game. Matt Freese? I don't know what Matt Freese was before that. So I'm not even going to give Cushion credit for Matt Freese.
No, but think about the players that have. But what about the offense? What about some of the most? What about Keaton Parks, Santi Rodriguez, Hannes Wolf?
Okay.
Julian Fernandez.
Let's talk about Alonso Martinez. This guy wasn't even a striker. The gaffer had enough confidence to put him in that position.
enough confidence. It took him 18 games to even have him play. And it's only because Moonsef missed 37 shots in a row. Moonsef is another person who's gotten terrible. I mean, maybe he was already because he didn't have a lot of goals this last game too. Jovan we paid $1 bajillion for.
He's 18 years old. You can't have
but
that
he
high.
hasn't done anything.
He's 18 years old.
But isn't the coach's job to develop an 18-year-old? You know who's also just barely over 18? Mija.
You know what would have been a greater point? Malachi Jones.
But that's what I'm saying. These players are already talented. Maybe the players that are talented are just talented, and it is not the coach is making them better. But the players who need development aren't developing under Cushing. And I'm just here defending the Cushing out opinion. I don't 100% agree on this, all right, Cushing, especially if you're in next year. But I'm trying to make those valid points. Like I haven't seen a lot of growth in some of the players that we needed the most growth from, and that in a way concerns me.
But maybe are we
saying we lost Talish Magno? I just like to point that out.
I can't even defend
which was
Talish
another
Magno.
superstar.
You know who I can defend though? At this point, Chanel's got beef with every coach he's ever played with. I can't even defend the guy anymore. I love Chanel, but that guy be going crazy on some coach.
Bro, he's the reason LAFC lost. Or one of them. That own goal is tough.
Yeah, that's a tough one, bro. Did we have a third? Are we done with this Cushing?
Wait. Let me see. Do you have another Cushing in reason that I could counter?
I thought I had another one, but
so development of players was your only reason that you say he's in.
Yeah.
I guess your other point that you mentioned earlier is you think he wins big games.
Yeah, and I think he has won big games. So I think the team does play up to the games against them.
You know what? I'm going to use that against you. I think we've spent, according to the recording thing, 42 minutes of this podcast. Half of that time has been talking about how this team has been inconsistent. I think the number one person you blame for a team being inconsistent is the coach. Because if we are consistently sucking, or you could be like, we just don't have the roster for this, right? Maybe our team just sucks. But we have a team that sometimes shows flashes of brilliance. And you go, you know what? This team could win the cup. And why don't we see that team enough? I think that the core of that is coaching.
No, and one thing I had a good one. One thing I'll fight back on that is that. What was your point again?
They're not consistent. And I think it's coaching's why.
But we also talk about having the youngest team in the league. We talk about that. And we talk about a majority of these guys are brand new to this team. Alonso Martinez, did he have any real minutes last game? No. Last season? No. Hannes Wolf, did he have any real minutes last season? No. Micha, did he have any real minutes? No. So this is a young team. And before the season, what were the expectations for this team? I don't think it was to win a playoff game against Cincinnati, who were the third best ranked team in the East. If you would have told me that, I would have been like, wow, we had a pretty successful season. For such a young roster, come on, that's a pretty successful season. And the reason we're so upset right now is because it's the Red Bulls, right? Because we said it. It feels like we're playing with house money at this point. If we beat the Red Bulls. But if we were playing Columbus Crew, we would have been fine with this result.
Yeah.
So it's just like we're getting wrapped up in the moment, but we do have a very young team. And when we built that 2021 roster that won it, those guys were together for 2 to 3 years. As much as I don't want it to be true when front office tells us like, oh yeah, we have a championship winning team. Now, if they dismantle this whole team, then yeah, it was all for nothing, right? Because we need these guys to gel. We need these guys to develop for maybe another year to really see the impact of what this team could be. That's what I got.
That's pretty good.
All right.
No. I had another one, but maybe we'll give up
I think
here.
We end it there.
We'll give it up there.
But I guess your true feelings, though, because if the fans want to know, I mean, I'm still on the fence. I'm going to be honest. I know people who hate Cushing, and they're going to say Cushing out.
Yeah.
But to a certain extent, I did feel like we kind of overplayed the expectations. Now, were the expectations lowered because it was Cushing? Maybe. And we didn't make the playoffs last year. But I'm still iffy about it. I don't feel definitive that he should go. I definitely don't think he's going if we're going to talk about the whole story. Like, if it's up to him and front office, he's staying. If he's going to take the women's Arsenal job, then he's leaving. But I don't think they would make him go.
Yeah.
And I think by winning against Cincinnati, he really solidified that he can move on to the next season.
You know what? Honestly, I'm also on the fence. One, I just feel bad for a dude who has to lose his job, but also like I am more Lee out than Cushing out, because I think it is ridiculous to have a team this young and expect success. And I looked at that game and saw the way we got flustered in that first half, and thought, oh, who's our veteran out there? Who's the person who's supposed to calm this? And you go, that's Maxi Morales. But like, one guy out of 11, like, you got to sprinkle in some leadership in there. When we talk about like what should be a good, you know, that winning squad in 2021, we had Maxime Chanot, we had Alexander Callens, you know, we had Maxi Morales, we had like a good group, but that was supplemented with young players like Tati Castellanos, like Santi Rodriguez, like Talles Magno. I do think the success of this team is missing a few veterans that keeps people like Santi in check. And I think there's conversations about, do we build around Santi? Maybe that's not the right decision. So honestly, I do put more blame on the season on Lee than I do on Cushing. I'm just so tired of the Cushing in, Cushing out conversation that I kind of do want to.
Well, I will say, just to reemphasize your point, if we look at, I think if we look at the majority of these off-season signings, they were all under 21. Ojeda, 20. Julian Fernandez, 20. Jovan, 18. So you spent, let's say, 20 million. It's probably upwards of 20 million on these guys, and they are all under 20.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, and we've already had rumors of Julian Fernandez possibly getting
to Palmeiras.
Yeah, going to Palmeiras. There's a deal going on for that. If you said, okay, this is the future of our team, and now you're selling the assets that are supposedly the future of our team, then it doesn't make any sense. And I agree with you. Then that goes back to what Lee's saying. But then I could also see that could go back to being Lee out. But then I could go to say, but Nick Cushing never gave these guys the minutes. What did we Ojeda, we never saw him out there. Julian, I mean, there was a point in time where those guys were getting minutes, and they would actually score.
Yeah.
But
I'm not. It's weird. I don't know why we're switching sides here, but at the same time,
now I'm Cushing out.
But at the same time, we had like 6 wingers.
Yeah.
How are you supposed to give 6 wingers minutes? Like, that didn't make sense either. Like, we kept saying, man, what happens if Tavon Gray or Burke Risa go out? Not Tavon Gray. Thiago Martins or Burke Risa come out. And you know who our backup is? Tanzanovic. I'm hoping he's not here next season, bro. And what happened last year with that dude? He was gone in 2 seconds too. The other center back we had. There's been some not great signings. Like the past couple, maybe the past 3 transfer windows have been really bad for this team. And like I feel like we kind of give that a pass because the fan base doesn't love Cushing.
All right.
So there's a lot to talk about. We got way into it, but that was a good Cushing and Cushing out conversation, I thought. That sounded good. It might be good. It might be good on the gram.
I think anybody, if I was defending Cushing, I'm screwed. But I want to get to probably the saddest thing for me. Maxi Morales might have been his last game. His contract's out at the end of the year. With Barraza as our only other player with their contract out the end of the year. I think we all expect probably a move for Barraza. But Maxi Morales, this is a tough one, man. And the reason it's so tough for Maxi leaving is like to end, if this was his last game, to end off a Red Bull loss is so disheartening, especially because Maxi's dominated the Red Bulls. You know what I mean? This one hurts to see this might be his last game. And we tried to talk to him after the game. He never showed up to the press, through the press line, you know, where they talk. And for me, that's telling. And the reason that's telling is Maxi's always been willing to talk to the press. And you saw him crying after the game. Before he even started crying, he got in with Token, who was egging on our fans and our supporter section, like, oh, like, yeah, like hyping it up. And Maxi went up to him and like shoved him and like, don't do that. Like he was defending us. And it was like that last moment of just defending NYCFC and what it meant to him and what it feels like it's always meant for him. Was just like, it's just a tough one. And then to see him crying off the field.
Damn, bro, you're gonna make me cry.
This one hurts, man. And if it was his last game, it's bittersweet. You know what I mean? He just won the 200 appearances with NYCFC. I don't know if any other player is ever going to get to that. This might have been the only player will, because the way NYCFC runs, it's like they just like their players move on after a couple seasons. So do you think this is Maxi's last game?
Yeah, I do think so. And I know when we asked the players, they all were like, I don't think it's his last game. I think he'll be back. But the Maxi that I saw out there looked like a Maxi that was tired. And a Maxi that I'm scared of bringing Maxi back and then saying, maybe we shouldn't have brought Maxi back. Like, I never want to have that conversation. And I didn't feel that way at all this season. And I'm scared that if he tries to play another season, we will be having that conversation. And in a weird way, my preference, because I never want to talk bad about Maxi, is that he calls it a day.
Well, what if he wants to keep going?
But that's what I'm scared is going to happen. Is he's just not going to be able to play at the Maxi level, and then we're just going to have to talk bad about Maxi. I don't want that. That's what scares me. You know what I mean?
He could ride it out on the bench, bro. We'll still cheer him on. He'll come for 10 minutes, make some Maxi magic.
What do you think?
Well, one thing I think it's Maxi's last game. And I've been saying it. I asked Cushing about it. Cushing was like, well, we just got through the series. We're not worried about Maxi. I kept Maxi in the game because it's Maxi. I thought it was more like maybe sentimental, keep Maxi in because it might be his last game, but he didn't say that. We talked to a fan after the game. So we didn't get to see Maxi leave, but a fan, Alex, cool dude, nice talking to you.
Yeah, it was
he
cool.
was like, "Oh, I asked Maxi like, are you coming back?" And he's like, "Vamos ver, like, well, let's see what happens." Not that means anything, but if I just feel like Maxi would have been like, "Yeah, I'll be back." Like, you know what I mean? If it was definitive that he was coming back.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering, is it coming from NYCFC side that this might be his last game, or is Maxi feeling like maybe this was the end for me?
Yeah.
And if it's not coming from Maxi, I hope that they will keep him.
Yeah.
Just because I think he still has a little more room in the tank for us. One more season. But doesn't mean we shouldn't get another midfield, because I think we should have a number 10.
Yeah.
A proper 10, not Santi.
Where's Thomas Rodriguez now that he signed for anybody yet?
I don't know where Thomas is. I think that was all I had. That was like the end to my...
I thought, well, one more thing I guess I wanted to say. Oh, that end to Maxi,
Yeah,
the conversation.
end to Maxi.
Yeah, but hopefully not the end to Maxi. We'll see. This is making me sad again. What was I gonna say? And their interesting thing was James Sands. He didn't have a great game, but in general had a very good season.
Great season.
One of the best defenders in the league. I'm surprised he didn't make the All-Star game. He didn't make the All-Star game, right?
No, Thiago Martins did.
You asked James Sands after the game, you went to Europe, you're back in MLS. Do you still want to go back to Europe? And he says, yep, that's the goal. You think we're going to have James Sands next year? I think he's going to be given an opportunity.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Not if people are really looking at him. I think he could be one of those guys who go. And if he is one of those guys who go, maybe that's a spot for Justin Hack. I mean, it's hard to replace James Sands.
And we got Andres Pereira.
Oh, that's true. But Pereira and Keane Parks kind of overlap each other in a way. James Sands is more defensive minded, and Pereira is more attacking. Keane Parks is more attacking. So
I mean, Keane Parks hasn't attacked anybody, and
don't be disrespectful, bro. He does have to finish his chances, though.
Yeah.
I think that's a wrap. I think we've talked enough. 54 minutes. How the hell did we talk this much?
I don't know. We don't have another game to preview.
Okay, who do you got winning MLS Cup?
Anybody that's not the Red Bulls.
I agree with
I'm
that.
going. I like Ricky Puig a lot, so I'm going for LA Galaxy. I don't want Orlando to win, so
well, of
it's
course
either
not.
Seattle or LA.
Yeah.
And I like LA. I think it's a fun team to watch.
Yeah, LA. I'm gonna go LA too. Just they are a fun team to watch.
Yeah.
They just whooped I forgot who 6-2. Oh, Minnesota.
Yeah,
They're a fun team to watch.
yeah.
What's the future for us for these last? Are we doing an off season? So we didn't recap like our predictions early in this year. So we'll do a prediction show sometime.
Yeah.
Maybe we get a player interview. It's been
That'll be cool. I'm thinking we're probably gonna do like one episode in December, one episode in January, unless some big signings happen. So I think that's gonna be us guys. I don't think you're gonna see us for a little while.
Yeah, you're definitely not. And that one episode, that might not happen, bro. Let's be honest here. We're the lazy boys, not the city boys. Before the season, I said we had to take a shot.
Yes.
So let's
Oh no, you said you had to take a shot in the beginning of the season.
to celebrate. And then hopefully we would take another shot to celebrate a championship. Didn't happen.
But celebrate another season.
No, we're not celebrating. We're crying. Cheers, brother.
Cheers.
Yeah, that's gross.
Yeah.
Peace out, y'all.
Peace. Miss you already.
Let's wrap this up. 2024 done, bro.
That was fun.
Alexa, turn off studio.
Okay.
I'm hungry. Yeah, let's go eat, bro. Anything else?
I mean, thanks for everyone who watched this season. I don't know. I just want to say thanks. I don't know how to say thanks. I'm not good at showing love, but I appreciate everyone and everyone we met this year. You guys honestly made the season what it was for us because it was awesome.
A lot more people stopped us and said like whether they hated us, liked us. I appreciated all of it, and it just it means the world, man. To like really feel like we're part of the community, and I think that was just the awesome part of it, like being part of the community. Thank you for everybody who stops us. Thank you for people who call in during the show and just vent, talk shit, just be part of the family. It's just always nice to see.
More call-in shows next season.
Yeah, we're gonna try a lot more shit.
A lot more. You know, my favorite part of the season with the fans was the 4 people that clapped with you during the Moonsef.
Moonsef Bakar moment was unforgettable. The highlight of my life. Me and those 4 fans. Great moments.
Yeah, man. Thanks for everything. We'll be back.
We'll be back.